Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. I never knew some of these statistics were so high. Like, on average, there was a new post about race or ethnicity based hate speech every 1.7 seconds. Discussions about violent threats online saw a 22% increase following the start of the pandemic and the resurgence of Black Lives Matter movement in the summer of 2020.
And anti-Asian hate speech increased by 1,662%.
In 2020.
Just compared to 2019.
That's 1 year it went up.
It's just sad to think these are the statistics and it seems to only be getting more. So like we said, when we have kids, I dread to think how it's going to be if something doesn't change and there's not better laws put in place and people don't have harsher repercussions.
It's awful.
So scary.
Only 15% believe that social networks and apps they use have sufficient moderation.
That's very low. Doesn't surprise me at all.
8 in 10 young people don't tell their parents about everything that happens to them online, with 22% telling their parents hardly anything.
1 in 5 people compare themselves, their success and their happiness to the people they follow online, which could also in turn increase the online hate, going back to jealousy and comparing.
From things that we've heard. Yeah. How does the culture of online hate differ in the gaming community compared to other communities?
There's a lot more aggressive behavior in gaming communities. It's competitive by nature. Honestly, from where I sit and having done this since 94, it hasn't changed much. It's just that there are more people online. So if you go to a protest and there's 10 people and they're yelling and screaming, or you go to a protest and there's 1,000 people screaming and yelling, it's going to be a lot louder and a lot more intense, right? It feels like it's worse, but from where I sit, I guess in some ways it's worse, but there were always trolls. There were always people full of rage. I was at Habbo in 2001 to 2007, and we had a lot of bad behavior there, a lot of young people in one space. And I would have to go to the police and about certain behaviors. They would say in the early days, we don't know anything about this stuff because there were no rules or laws, right? They'd say, well, why don't they just log off or just tell them not to go online? And I thought, oh boy, we've got some educating to do, right? You don't just say, don't go online. That's like saying, just don't ever leave your room and you'll be just fine. Well, yeah, but you also won't have much of a life. All of that is an educational process. Who wants to hear your child did this at age 11? I hated having to tell parents, and nobody wants to be on the other end of that. Nobody wants to believe it. Like my son, my daughter, they wouldn't do that. Nobody ever wanted to believe it. The problem with the online world is that they can access each other, right? At a huge level that they never could before, which that then in their minds normalizes their behavior. So if I go online and I find 50 people who don't think anything of hate crimes in the online or offline world, and we all share this information with each other in this community, we're like, see, there's nothing wrong with me. Look, there's 500 people like me.
Do you think the online community, so for instance, the gamer online community, needs to do better with safeguarding, and has safeguarding changed within the years?
Do I think it needs to be better? First of all, yes, it needs to be better. There's great tools now. A lot of companies don't use them. So the only thing that I believe at this point we can do, option one is, in my opinion, I think parents have to parental verification. And I know nobody's parents want to do that. Nobody wanted to do all the signing up. It was like, oh God, I don't want to sign up all this stuff. And as a vendor, as a gaming company, you have a responsibility to do everything you can to protect your gamers. whatever the age, right, to protect them. So it's everybody. If we had a Venn diagram with 3 circles interlocking, the gamer has a responsibility to learn about the tools to use and to learn about what's expected and what's the behavior that's expected of me and what are the consequences of my not adhering to that behavior. The gaming company has a responsibility to provide supervision. I don't want to say law enforcement because they're not police, the moderators and people. They're there to make sure everybody's safe, right? And then parents and law enforcement and stakeholders have a responsibility in that third circle to take responsibility for knowing what their children are up to. So we all have that responsibility. Yes, the companies need to do more. They do. They absolutely do. Some of them don't use anything. But now that's starting to change.
I think the platforms know there's bullying and are trying to, will say they're trying to draw the line of where their responsibility starts and stops, and also that their platforms are so big they can't police everything whilst protecting free speech. I think terrible tragedies have brought about the online safety bill, and I think the government and Parliament finally realised something needs to be done about this, so they are trying to tackle the issue now.
The first and most importantly is that you're not alone, and it's really important that you talk about it, but also really important that you don't see yourself as the problem. I think that's something that we all kind of do. We know scientifically that the reason people bully is never because of someone's unique characteristic or anything about them, it's because of the perpetrator, and there's so many different reasons. So try to untrain this language of seeing yourself as a problem and trying to change who you are and filter yourself. And I think also it's really important to talk about these issues with people who get it.
Bullying causes a lot of isolation and fear. And I think that's why I was saying tell somebody, because actually then you're not isolated and you can actually share the fear with someone.
Ditch the Label is such an amazing platform to be able to get that help and support. Like, you can literally go on our community and you can talk to thousands of people who have been through it and now are trained mentors, and they're all here to help you. You can report online abuse to us. We get most content removed within 24 hours.
Even though I post body positivity and self-love and I'm saying, you know, ignore the hate, when I get a hate comment now, my heart, like when I get a hate comment, my heart just feels so numb. I feel so numb when I get a hate comment.
If someone was in their room right now and they're feeling like everyone is against them, maybe they're being bullied or they're getting horrible messages online, the number one thing that I would say to do is don't just keep it to yourself, because even though you might think, oh, no one's going to want to help me, I don't want to be a burden to somebody, there is somebody there that is going to care, and they will be upset that you're upset, and they might be able to help you. And I think even just talking to other people about it is sort of the first step and a bit of a release in that you're not alone in it.
If there's anyone out there that's feeling that they've had enough or they're not enough for this world, you damn well are. You know, God put you in this world for a reason, and if you're going through anything right now and you feel like you don't want to be in this world no more, there is someone you can call and pick up the phone. There are helplines that you can do.
There are many long-term effects of bullying. It can cause depression, that feeling inside yourself of I'm not actually worth anything, why are people picking on me, it must be to do with me, that internalisation. We can see social anxiety with this, where you become fearful of other people. I think bullying creates a shame-based system. And shame and humiliation are two factors that talk over and over again about how they feel or how the bullies make them feel. And often there is humiliation associated with the acts of bullying. And I think a lot of people feel incredible shame. Bullying leads to attachment issues. You don't want to be attached to someone. You'd rather be by yourself than actually invest in attaching to someone else, because actually it teaches you people aren't trustworthy, as the nature of human beings is to be in relationship with people. And when we fear that, actually we are very isolated and afraid and alone.
You just don't read it. That's what people say, like, it's so simple, but there's just something about scrolling down and like you have to know what everyone's saying about you, and then that's what like hurts the most, because you just hear hundreds of opinions about you that you know aren't true, but you know, it's their view in you, and then it creates something in your head like, oh, maybe I am that, maybe, you know. It is hard, and yeah, it's disgusting.
We feel like we do get scared to say certain things, and everything we post, we have to really think about it before we do it, because like even just wording of things, and like even if it's not something that could be ever seen as something bad, like we always worry about it because we're worried that people take it wrong.
Yeah.
And we don't want to come across as like, we don't want to upset anybody.
When people are really at a very low point and they feel no one can help, I do understand that. And one of the things that, the reason I do my job, and one of the key things that I really believe in as a psychotherapist, is the ingredient of hope. And I often say to my clients, I will hold the hope for you until you can hold the hope. But I had a young person who had 3 suicide attempts, and the bullying was really rife. And the way that it was dealt with was really inappropriate. But when this person came, they then tried to take their life a second and a third time while they were with me. And a year after therapy, this young person said to me, I can't believe I did that. It's not something I would ever do again. I'm really grateful to have this chance. So I always believe in hope.
We are very happy that we have done this documentary to shed light on the effects that online hate can have on people.
We've had so many different people on from so many different points of views. I really do think even if this stops one person from sending hate, then we've done a good job, even if it's just one person.
There are so many people out there who will listen, although it may feel like a very isolating time. Some people have said to us that they felt kind of sort of embarrassed to reach out. So many people out there that are receiving online hate, you are not alone, and there are so many places you can reach out to for help.
People do care.
Definitely.
Thank you.